Hello YouTube, thank you for tuning in. So today is a pull day. It is a devolume pull day. This is my last session at devolume. I'd done 7 weeks of hard intense training and then moved into obviously a bit of a lesser volume week just to try and drop a little bit of the fatigue that I'd accumulated. I saw my sleep get a little bit worse, my appetite was a little bit shit. So obviously moving into this phase it should be a little bit better. Had a little bit of a reshuffle with my training. Of my push and pull sessions, more so because for the past 6 weeks or so I've seen my numbers haven't regressed, but they've stalled pretty much on most of my rows and pull downs and presses. So instead of being at that point and just sticking and almost feeling like you're a little bit stagnant even mentally, sometimes it's nice to just take that little bit of a change around to do something different, even if even if the movement is basically like for like. So gonna go through those movements today. Hopefully you'll take some things from it, and then we'll take it from there. So the first movement is a seated crossbody lat pull down. Obviously it's very good for getting a little bit more stretch into the lat compared to a normal pull down. I've not yet decided whether I like it or not, I will be honest. And in regards to pointers, the pointers for this compared to a normal lat pull down don't really change. You still want to keep your chest tall, not to the point where it's extended, but not to the point where it's hunched over. Just nice and neutral, core locked nice and tight, hands supinated / neutral to the point of your body's insertion, because obviously I'm sat at a slight angle, and just making sure that you're going into full extension, but not actual full protraction. So I then bring the elbow right into that hip. Again, it's a very new movement to me. So I'm going to give it a go and see how we get on. That feels good. Feel nice. I'm probably going to send it to Oscar because that's where Cooper had got it from. Just because obviously he knows what he needs to feel like and needs to look like, so probably send it to him to get a little bit of a review, as well as obviously maybe Cooper looking at it as well. heavy volume. For me personally, I like to still go to the point in which I don't really have any more, especially on movements like that. It's like me doing a movement like that to failure is very different to doing an FLDL to failure where you're completely frying your central nervous system. There's certain movements that you probably want to leave almost a rep in the tank, and then there's some that you can literally go until there's nothing left, like that. I can go and it feels good, but I'm not completely fucking myself. Sorry, Erin, I needed to itch my nose there. I need like a step box for my feet, too short for life. If you get a new movement in your plan, obviously perhaps your session may take a little bit longer that first time because you do have to find your numbers. That will probably mean that on that exercise you'll probably need to take a few more warm-ups. When it comes to your warm-ups, I know that we spoke about that before, but you don't need to be taking 10, 15, 5 reps at a time. Once you've done that first initial set of quite a few reps for getting that movement feeling good, then it's time to just do a couple of reps each time you put on a little bit of weight, just to see what will actually feel like you can hit the rep range that you've obviously got set in your plan. If you're newer to training or newer to bodybuilding, the frequency of your deloads will probably be a little bit less than someone that's a little bit more advanced, because how heavy you are, how heavy you go when you train, slash how intensely you train is going to obviously be very different. The way in which you approach a deload for someone that's obviously a little bit more of a beginner to training compared to those who are a little bit more advanced is also going to be very different. And that comes down to whether you know how to actually train to failure as well, because you can suggest a 1 or 2 rep in the tank when you go back to training, but someone who doesn't actually know how to failure is never going to know what those focal points are. Focus row, pretty much the same as any other lat focus row. Focusing on keeping your chest nice and tall, spine neutral, core locked nice and tight. You don't want to lock your core to the point where you're hunching over and rounding over, because that actually limits your range of motion. You still want to keep yourself nice and neutral. You can still keep your core tight without needing to do that. Then you want to make sure that you're fully extending that arm and then fully bringing it into your hip. If you just bring your arm straight back on a row, you will use a lot of bicep. So you want to almost think about down and back, so it comes down into the hip to get more tension into the lat rather than into your bicep. So when you're doing any movement, obviously you have your concentric and eccentric part of your movement. You always want to make sure the eccentric part of the movement is nice and slow. Your concentric part of your movement needs to have some aggression to it, but still needs to have lots of control. If you're doing it with not enough control, you're literally just throwing it back. It's not going to do anything. You're not going to be able to contract your muscle hard. If you've got too much control, you're going to be like this, which we see a lot at the moment. That's going to make your sets last for about 50 minutes. Or you can have the perfect amount, which is literally driving back and then slowly back out. It's almost like the big bear, little bear and baby bear, whatever it is. Too hot, too cold, just right. I love that machine, but God, it hurts me boobs. Back with the prime row. I've not done this now since prep, so it feels nice to have it back in because this is my favourite upper back row. So here, what we're focusing on is keeping the feet grounded into the floor, obviously having full contact with the little leg pads just to make sure that you brace nicely, as well as the chest pad. You want to make sure that your chest is nice and extended. When you straighten the arms, making sure that them shoulders come forwards, making sure that you get a real nice stretch before you then squeeze those shoulder blades back together and drive those elbows all the way past your body. Bloody no. So upper back focus pull down. I usually do it on the cables, but change it to here. My other session I normally do it here, so I'll probably move it onto there because obviously the exercises are different. So just in order to give me a little bit of a freshener with my session, that's why this one's been put into this day. So on this, making sure that my hips are fully underneath the pad to make sure that I'm locked in. It's hard to really get myself trapped in properly to be able to get to work for my upper back. So hips all the way under, core nice and tight, chest nice and tall, making sure that I have full protraction with those shoulders squeezing all the way up into my ears before I then really drive those shoulder blades back towards each other as those elbows come all the way down past my body. And that really gets all my upper back firing, and you can obviously feel a little bit of rear delt as well. Lovely stuff. Get some big rear delts like that. I got shouted at the other week because mine were looking shit apparently. So had to address them and make sure that they were perfect. So just make sure when you do a rear delt fly that you let those arms come all the way to the front to get your arms fully straight, to get a real nice stretch through your rear delt. And then as you drive the hands out, think about reaching to the other side of the room, not letting those shoulders come back with you. You almost want to keep them in a nice stationary position as those arms pull out, and that will get way more tension into your rear delt. Even if you do it without a machine or a weight, you can actually feel it working. Bit of an attachment, and I'm a little bit superstitious when it comes to accessories in the gym. So I've been very much married to my lifting straps for a very long time. So obviously trying out the new hard body ones, I was a little bit like, oh, am I going to like them? They're actually very, very, very good. They're nice and long, which is nice. They get you wrapped in to the point where you feel like at the end of your set that you're actually a little bit stuck. So it's not as if you're going to start slipping and moving around. So I recommend them a lot. They're the premium lifting straps. These are the grey suede ones. And if you want to get some money off, use my code MEG, of course. Just ignore me, I'm having a bad day. There we go. Sorted. Oh, what a bastard. I just never get any stronger on him. It's not even funny. So, I was just saying, with my bicep curls and some things like side laterals, they don't progress that well. I mean, my side laterals definitely progress a lot more than my tricep work and my bicep work. But for me personally, I think that comes down to the volume. The more you do something, the better you do become at it. Obviously for my class, because I don't require a lot of bicep, the need for me to have it in my program isn't really as necessary as other people, obviously, that do classes that need big biceps. So because I don't do it that frequently, the rate of progress is very minimal. It's like, I think I probably added 2 kilos and a rep in about 3 years, so it's not looking good, guys.
Big man thing, yeah? It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
Bastard. When it comes to your program for training, consistency and reps over time will obviously build to more strength, better form, better execution, which will definitely translate into your physique looking far better. As you get deeper into that training program, things will start to stall. There may be times when you need to take a little bit of a reset because you've basically broken down with your form and things just aren't going anywhere because you're trying to move weight from A to B. And then that's the right time to obviously take a reset with form. But there does come a time when you've been doing certain exercises with great form, with the same reps over and over again. It's like for me, I've done 6 weeks where things just hadn't progressed. Form was still perfect, but I just literally wasn't getting any more reps. So that's why it's a good time, or that's when it's a right time to be able to move an exercise. So moving something for a like movement, so say you're doing a lat pull down on a normal lat pull down setup, but then there's a machine that you could do a lat pull down on. It's different, so your body's obviously going to be able to start from the bottom and build up, but it is a like movement. You are still targeting the same area that's obviously in your program for the specific reason of needing to be progressed. So you don't need to be moving from training program to training program. You can move different exercises over time, but you need to give it time. It's like my movements haven't changed in 30 weeks. And that's a long time to do a specific movement for. So take your time, build up slowly, make sure your form is perfect, take resets when needed. Thank you for watching YouTube. Hope that you took things away from the new movements that I've done, from the pointers that I use when obviously going into them. They were all very similar in terms of the pattern of movement compared to what I was doing before. So nothing too different in terms of teaching points, but sometimes it's nice to do a movement, remind yourself of the pointers to make sure that you're doing it right, to be able to make sure that that muscle is getting all the stimulus that it can possibly get out of doing something specific. So yes, me and Cuba are actually going on holiday next week to Colombia, so very exciting. Probably won't get any footage whilst we're out there because we'll probably be quite busy. But yeah, we'll be obviously back onto YouTube with lots of footage once obviously we are back home. So please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you again for another video.